Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be giving you guys the second installment of my Rocket Legends series, if that's the name I decide to continue going with. We're talking about the best player, in my opinion, to never qualify for an RLCS LAN. And one of the biggest what-ifs that's ever happened in Rocket League. We're way back in Season 1 here, looking at Gambit POV. He's playing alongside Kernovi and Lachinio, and they're up against Espion, Husky, and Classics. Now, Espion and Classics, two players who made RLCS a few times. Actually, I think Espion made it once, Classics made it a few times. So these are some top players in NA back then, but Gambit, Lachinio, Kernovi, they were the original NA dream team. This was the top, well, most people consider the top three players in NA. Gambit and Kernovi were considered 1 and 2, and then Lachinio is absolutely top tier, and considered by many to be the best on his previous team that he played with, Team Untethered, I think they were called. So yeah, when these three teamed up, everybody thought, okay, GG's, it's over. The rest of NA might as well give up because these guys are just going to win everything. And it didn't look like that for the first part of the season. Season 1 of RLCS had 2 parts to it. There was 2 splits almost. And in the first split, these guys utterly dominated. Nobody could match them because they were just too fast, too mechanical. Gambit there with the double tap, actually going for another one earlier, nearly making it work. Yeah, these guys were just a different level, and for the first half of Season 1, it looked like they were going to run away with it. But then, this is why it became a big what-if, and why it became, a big question mark. And still to this day, a bit confusing as to what exactly happened. Was the second split didn't go as well as the first one for Lachinio, Kernovi. There were no majors back then, it was just 2 online splits and then Worlds. So online split number 1, they crush everyone. Online split number 2, they're actually losing games. They're dropping series in game 5 every now and then, and everybody's wondering what is happening. They were literally freestyling on everyone before. What went wrong? They subbed in Over0 online to play with Gambit and Kernovi one weekend. That didn't go well either. I think Lachinio couldn't play for whatever reason. And then of course the LAN comes around. It's a nice half volley there by Gambit. Look at that. A lot of you guys these days aren't hitting it that clean. And boom, 3-0. Yeah, work on your half volleys, everybody. But Gambit decided for whatever reason not to go to the LAN. And back then, RLCS Season 1, the entire season prize pool was just 55k. And I say just 55k, that was a lot more than any prize pool had been in Rocket League at the time. So it made sense, and it was really exciting. All the top pros were super excited. The whole Rocket League scene was over the moon that the developer, Psyonix, had decided to make an official championship series. But the only reason I bring up the fact the prize pool was the only reason I say only is because back then a lot of players would decide not to go to RLCS on one day or maybe the whole event. There was Maestro in Season 3 when Turbopulsa famously subbed in and won with Northern Gaming. There was Dapper in Season 4 when he couldn't play. Nice redirect own goal there by Gambit, trying to get his ball into his own crossbar. So yeah, all that to say that back then it wasn't that crazy if somebody decided to miss a LAN. It wasn't life-changing money. Players really had to prioritize their personal lives in school more than they do now, and I'm not saying that players should give up school for Rocket League, even to this day, mainly because you don't have to. You can definitely do both, and I encourage you guys, if you want to put more time to the game, to work on yourself, work on your studies as well, because you really don't need to put your entire life into Rocket League in order to get very, very good at the game. Just a couple of hours a day, maybe a nextrank.com assistance, hashtag ad there, link in description. Check out the YouTube videos, join the Discord. But anyway, back to the story at hand here. Gambit, is he, for you guys, the best RLCS, well, the best player to never make an RLCS LAN? Relative to the time, of course, because these days, Grand Champs are better than pros were back then, but relative to the time, Gambit was one of the best players in the world. He might have just straight up been the best player in North America, and he didn't go to the LAN, and then he never went to any RLCS LAN in the future. This was his last season that he really competed at the top level. I don't know exactly what the reason was, but yeah, real life commitments, he was more focused on that, and I'm sure he's done absolutely fine. Most people who choose a real career over esports do just okay. So not a bad idea. But is he, for you guys, the best player to never make an RLCS LAN, or indeed a Rocket League LAN in general, relative to the time? I think he very well could be, and it is something that's not talked about as much as it would be, because IBP went and won the LAN with over0. Massive underdog story, by the way. Like, I know they were the top team in NA for across the whole season, but second split they were number 5 in NA with Gambit playing online. And for them to sub in over0, who didn't perform very well online, and then win the LAN was completely unheard of. Nobody expected them. If anyone is going to win in NA, people were thinking maybe it'll be Kings of Urban, because those guys were the new #1 team in NA online. But they didn't even make it past round 1. And then, of course, you have IBP beating Flipside twice, beating Northern Gaming, taking down Jesse as well. Crazy stuff. So had that not happened, had IBP not gone and won the LAN in one of the biggest Cinderella runs in Rock League history, super scripted for Kronovi to be the winner of the first ever RLCS LAN. Had they not won, I think this would have been talked about a lot more. Gambit would be talked about a lot more. That's why I wanted to make this video about him, because he was a great player. 4 goals here, just very fast, very mechanical for the time. And, oh, is that going to be another one? Well, it would have been, but it's gone into the ground. Wait a minute, 1 second remaining. They allowed to forfeit back then? I don't think so. Anyway, let's get into the second game. Alright, second game of the video here. We're back with the same team, Gambit, Kronovi, Lachinio. This time they're up against some familiar faces, Turtle, Moses, and Garrett G, the future world champion from North America. This is Team Exodus. These guys were underdogs going into RLCS at the start of the season, but they proved to be a very solid team, and they made the LAN. So this is LAN quality team from NA, and I'll give you a little bit of a spoiler here. They did win the series, Garrett, Turtle, and Moses, if I recall, unless I've got this one mixed up with another. Oh no, actually, I think I do have that one mixed up. No, they didn't win this one. Yeah, they did beat them in Split 2, though. They beat them in Split 2 in a Game 5. But Split 1, nobody could match Gambit, Kronovi, and Lachinio. They were just too fast. They were just too aggressive. Nice aerial there by Kronovi. And it's 2-0 already. But yeah, Gambit especially, very aggressive player. He liked to linger upfield and look for redirect opportunities. Liked to, play very quickly, boost steals, bumps. That was a nice little back pass attempt. Lachinio not on the same page. But yeah, these guys were just so much better than most of the competition mechanically that it didn't really matter if they would be upfield for a long time. They were just doing whatever they want and just having their way with teams, because they were just faster, they were just better. And it's only when teams started to get more consistent and start to look a little bit more organized in the second split that the wheels started to fall off a bit for this trio, this IBP trio, who previously looked unbeatable. Yeah, one of the most fun times in Rock League history, watching this team dominate in North America. I mean, they're just rolling teams, and you could tune in every week and this would happen at least once. There would be a game or two where they would just run up the score. You don't get to see this happen too often these days, because teams are so much better defensively and teams are a lot closer at the top. But back then they were just a totally different level, and they would have a game or two where they win 7-8-0. Now, you'll notice a few times in this game, in the last one, Gambit, when he flew up into the air, he did sometimes turn off ball cam, and I don't know if that was a personal preference or if it was just because he used toggle ball cam. A lot of the SARP vets, which Gambit was, he was a player who played the Supersonic Acrobatic Rocket Power battle cards before Rock League came out, and I think he ran with the IGN. I didn't play back then, but I've been told he ran with the in-game name High Man of Death, which is a phenomenal name. Nice little bump there by Lachinio, or at least a bump attempt. Love that. But yeah, because a lot of SARP vets became the best players when Rock League came out, these guys were just the best to begin with. That meant that a lot of them just used the same controls that SARP had, and SARP had toggle ball cam. I don't think you could change the controls in SARP, so toggle ball cam was a thing, and yeah, ball cam on triangle was a thing. A lot of players played claw grip because ball cam was triangle. You had power slide, boost, and jump all on the buttons on the thumb. I don't play controllers, so I can't remember what that's called, but that's part of the reason why you're seeing things like this. Sometimes you'll look at old plays, you'll see wall shots, you'll see aerials with ball cam off, and it's not necessarily because it's easier. I wouldn't recommend doing it. It's just because that's how they did it back in the day, so they were just used to doing it in that manner. But yeah, lots of the plays that you are seeing, I think, do in fact hold up to this day. A lot of the half volley technique back in the day, very crisp hits on the ball that a lot of people to this day do not get consistently in their game. I think that the passing plays were really good back then, and the positioning, although sometimes a bit awkward, was good, very good relative to the time. And you know, you get awkward players in ranked to this day who have had 10 years playing the game. These guys were only in their first year of playing the game. The game hadn't even been out for a year at this point, and they're already getting very, very good. Nice air dribble there from Gambit. Puts them in an awkward spot, 5-0. And they're just absolutely running away with this one. But yeah, before RLCS, Gambit was still considered. It wasn't like just RLCS came along. Kronovi picked him up, and that was his breakout period. Breakout on the screen, of course. But even before RLCS, in the RLC Pro League, in the MLG days, Gambit was already one of the best in NA at that point as well. The reason Kronovi picked him up and replaced Gibbs and Sad Jr. with Gambit and Lachinio is because these guys proved themselves on other teams, and they gave Kronovi and IBP a lot of problems. Oh, nice try there by Garrett. But yeah, they gave them a lot of problems in various tournaments, so it made sense. You know, it was the obvious thing to do, especially back then when there were no, you know, at least not many players were stuck on contracts playing for teams that they didn't want to play on. Most players could just, you know, decide one day, actually, I'm just going to sign up with totally different teammates because we're just a team name on a website. We don't have any contractual obligations. So you could just have the best players all deciding that they want to be on the same team together. IBP was I believe, a contract though. These guys got a little bit of money to get paid flipside taxes, of course. A lot of the teams who made LAN then were able to pick up contracts. But yeah, this is just a part of a series of videos I'm going to be making going down memory lane. Hopefully you guys are enjoying looking back at the old gameplay, maybe taking some. I know a lot of you guys in the previous one about IBP, the previous iteration of IBP, were saying that it was almost encouraging to look back and see how much people have improved and know that, well, if it's possible for them, maybe it's possible for you as well to get that much better. Because I mean, looking at the names in some of these videos, Turbo Pulse in the last one, Garrett G in this one, obviously we know how good those guys were able to get at the game, and this is it. This is the humble beginnings. This is where it all started. But there's one other game I want to show you guys parts of. I'm going to skip to the end of the next one and show you guys Gambit's most memorable goal. Okay, let's jump into this game in the old Wasteland. We're 2 minutes remaining here, 4-1 up. Gambit now playing with Quinn, Lobdell, and Edwin. This was actually even farther back in time. This is now pre-RLCS in the RLC Pro League. NA online. Well, everything is online for RLC Pro League, but yeah, just the NA portion, the league bit of the RLC Pro League. The reason I wanted to jump in here is because at the end of this game, Gambit scores a legendary goal. But look at the old Wasteland. This is what Wasteland was like when it got released. It was a bowl. It wasn't a regular shaped map. It was wider. I don't know if it was longer. It definitely looks a bit longer, maybe. The backboard is more curved. Everything just kind of, back in the day, I didn't like this. The ball would kind of just hug the wall in lower rated games like the ones I was in, and it would kind of just do laps. The ball would just do laps around the pitch because there were more curved surfaces to kind of grab the ball compared to the more flat surfaces in regular Rocket League where the ball bounces off of the wall and goes into the midfield again. But at pro level, these guys would have had a lot of experience with it because this was the shape of Wasteland in SARP. It's why they released it with this shape in Rocket League. But yeah, very awkward map to play on because of the uneven surface. It was quite hard to flip sometimes. These days I'm sure it would be fine. You could just make the correction beforehand. But yeah, flipping downhill, flipping uphill, very awkward. Flipping on a slant, not quite as comfortable as just flipping on a flat surface. So that's where we are right now. But yeah, in this tournament, this is a tournament pre-RLCS. I've talked about it in my last video as well. This is where Gambit really impressed everyone in the world. Everybody knew how good he was, but this is where he was just unbelievable. And yeah, this is why I think Kronovi decided I've got to team with this guy, because you know, when RLCS got announced, he's like, all right, enough of this nonsense. I'm teaming with this Gambit dude because we need to win this thing. Yeah, take a look at this. This is, again, way back. We're talking start of 2016. Air dribble off the ground. One touch to get up into the air, and then top ends. Gambit with the air dribble from the cross map, full pitch position. Let's go into the defender's POV here and watch, because this is just outrageous. Now, they do have boost. The boost is broken in old replays, I should have probably mentioned, but I mean, just look at this. This looks like he's smurfing on him. Back then, not many players were doing this. Gambit was way ahead of his time with dribbles, but also air dribbles. One pop, another touch into the air, and then another touch to really get a lot of lift before powering it into the top corner. Beautiful. That's, for me, the goal that I remember whenever I think of Gambit. I think of him in this Wasteland game, scoring that air dribble. You know, think of him dominating on IBP, especially in the, oh well, his first split. The second split, he was also great. for them on season 1. And then yeah, looking back even further, his what was that car called again? The kind of rounded car that he played. I'm gonna go and look in the garage because I've totally blanked on it right now, but I'm sure you guys already you're already screaming it, trying to remind me what it was. But yeah, Gambit, he used to play what was it? It was like the fat, tall car. Why can't I remember this? It's not like a new car. Came out at the beginning of the game. It's got to be up here somewhere. But yeah, while I try and find it, yeah, he was way ahead of his time with dribbling. The Gizmo. It was a Gizmo, wasn't it? Yeah, it was. There it is. Yeah, he played the Gizmo and he dribbled, and then he played the breakout and he air dribbled. Amazing stuff. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I wanted to make this. I wanted to have a discussion with you guys, and let me know in the comments if you have a different player. But was Gambit the best player relative to the time to never make an RLCS LAN, never make a big Rocket League LAN in general? Well, actually, he did make it, but he just decided not to go. Never go to an RLCS LAN. Never play on an RLCS LAN is probably a better way to say it. If you weren't there back then when these games were happening, then this is one of the players that really shaped the early days of North American Rocket League, and indeed the world of Rocket League, one of the absolute best at the time. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Again, let me know in the comments other players, other teams you want me to take a look at in this series, as well as even modern day players. I'm going to try and continue this up until modern day, just picking up interesting storylines, interesting players along the way. Like I said earlier, check out links in the description for the next ranked Chalkcast, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Take care.